The TPP, and there's a lot of hype here, but I think under the hype there is substance, is a so-called, or will be, I think, a 21st century trade agreement. That is, a good deal of what it will have to do with will be inside the border. It will have to do, and to go back to one of Mr. Kono's points, that the necessities for Japan, a good deal of what it will be dealing with will be inside the border, in regulatory issues, in investment issues, in intellectual property. One can agree or disagree with individual parts, but that's where it is heading. And so I think it will be an important, it could be an important element at any rate, in Japan's own internal domestic reform. And let me just end with a couple of points about where we go from here. As many of you probably know, the original hope was to get maybe a little bit farther than they were in November at the APEC meetings, but the negotiations of the now nine members of the TPP did reach what they call a broad framework. There is nothing now, there's no legal text, but you can see, I think, where the agreement is going, though there are some still major disagreements. The administration and the major trading partners in the TPP have said they hope to finish next year. I do not think, though I am a strong supporter of the TPP, that they're going to finish next year. I think we will go into 2013. And that leads me to the question of where does Japan, where does Mexico, where does Canada, where does Korea stand in terms of the future of the TPP? And here I think you could count on the fact that it's going to be early 2013, if then, and probably well into 2013 before you finish. And there's a delicate situation, I think, not just with Japan, but we're talking about Japan today. Let me focus on there. It's a two-way street. The negotiators in the United States do not want to go back and have to renegotiate all kinds of issues if Japan or Canada or Mexico come in. On the other hand, from Canada's point of view, or from Japan's point of view and Canada's point of view, it is also true that for the United States and the other nations to complete the vision of an Asia-Pacific architecture, they need Japan, they need Canada, they need Mexico. The TPP as it now stands is fairly small potatoes. And so I think the charge to both sides is to have some set of compromises so that you don't reopen the negotiations all the time on every issue. And yet you allow a good deal of leeway for those countries who are coming in late. And this is an entirely new kind of negotiation. No one has ever tried to do this. That's to add to an agreement after you have begun it. On the Japanese side, I think the point I would make is that sooner or later they must agree, or it must agree, as with the Canadians or the Mexicans, not so much the Koreans who've already got an agreement very close to this, that everything is on the table. On the U.S. side, I think it is important, having established that principle, that whether it is Japan or Mexico or whoever, that there a great deal of leeway be given to that particular nation or those nations to come into compliance with whatever rules are put in place, so that there's a great deal of flexibility here.